Hi students, welcome to lesson number 29, Green Revolution and Social Change. Green Revolution is one of the most important initiative in India, which has completely transformed the agrarian structure and agrarian relations in India. Green Revolution aimed at improving productivity in agriculture sector, food security and incomes of farmers. Green Revolution had tremendous impact on rural society and the agrarian structure in most of the regions. The Green Revolution of the 1960s and 1970s brought about significant changes in the areas where it took place. The Green Revolution strategy was driven by the use of high yielding variety seeds, fertilizers, irrigation and mechanized farming. It was supported by strengthening of credit facility, electrification, infrastructure, etc. It was inspired by the success of cropping experiments in the Latin American countries like Mexico and Asian countries like Philippines. It was introduced in India in the 1960s only in those areas that had assured irrigation because sufficient water was necessary for the new seeds and methods of cultivation. It was also targeted mainly at the wheat and rice growing areas. As a result, only certain regions such as Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, coastal Andhra Pradesh and parts of Tamil Nadu received the benefits of the first wave of the Green Revolution package. Later on, Green Revolution as a package program became popular in most of the states in India. The main objectives of this lesson are: number 1, to discuss about the concept of Green Revolution; number 2, to discuss about the social change in Indian society due to the impact of Green Revolution. Green Revolution as a new agricultural strategy. This new agricultural strategy was put into practice for the first time in India in the Kharif season of 1966 and was termed High Yielding Varieties Program. This program was introduced in the form of a package program since it depended crucially on regular and adequate irrigation, fertilizers, high yielding varieties of seeds, pesticides and insecticides. Initially, it was implemented in a total area of 1.89 million hectares. On the eve of the fourth plan, the coverage was estimated to be 9.2 million hectares. In 1998-99, total area under high yielding varieties program was 78.4 million hectares. This was 62.6% of the total area under food grains. The period after 1966 saw substantial increase in food grains production, especially wheat production. High yielding varieties program depended for its success especially on the availability of proper irrigation facilities and various other inputs. Therefore, it could be accepted only in those regions which possessed regular irrigation facilities and only by those farmers who could afford to purchase agricultural inputs. On account of this reason, it is said that the new agricultural strategy led to an increase in inter-regional and interpersonal inequalities. As a result of new agricultural strategy, food grains output increased substantially from 81.0 million tons in the third plan to 202 million tons in the 10th plan. In 2018-19, it stood at 285.21 million tons. It is estimated that the food grains production for the year 2019-20 is around 291.95 million tons. High yielding varieties program was restricted to only 5 crops, namely wheat, rice, jowar, bajra and maize. Therefore, non-food grains were excluded from the ambit of the new strategy. As far as food grains are concerned, wheat seems to have made rapid strides with its production increasing from 11.1 million tons in the 10th plan to 84.4 million tons in the 11th plan. The production of wheat rose to 106.21 million tons in 2018-19 and is estimated to have touched the record level of 110 million tons in 2019-20. The yield per hectare of all food grains, which was 710 kilograms in 1960-61, increased to 2,500 kilograms in 2012-13. That of wheat rose from 851 kilograms to 3,500 kilograms over the same period. It is on account of these reasons that wheat has remained the mainstay of the Green Revolution over the years. Now let us discuss about the social and economic impact of Green Revolution. The consequences of Green Revolution were both economic and social. It transformed the traditional ritual-based agriculture into a modern, secular and profitable activity. Increased production led to self-sufficiency and food security. It led to rural affluence in many areas and also led to industrial growth and self-reliance in terms of agricultural equipment manufacturing. Similarly, it also led to an increase in productivity of rice and wheat. In the long term, from being a net importer, India became a net exporter of rice. It also infused scientific temper into Indian agriculture. The social and economic changes of Green Revolution. Number 1, regional dispersal of Green Revolution and regional inequalities. As stated earlier, high yielding varieties program was initiated on a small area of 1.89 million hectares in 1966-67 and even in 1998-99 it covered 78.4 million hectares, which is only about 62% of the grass cropped area. Naturally, the benefits of the new technology remained concentrated in this area only. Moreover, since Green Revolution remained limited to wheat for a number of years, its benefits mostly occurred to areas growing wheat. These were the regions of Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh. As a result, the benefit of new technology was limited to wheat and the northwest region of the country in the initial period of the Green Revolution. However, gradually the new technology spread to rice and some other crops, and its geographical coverage extended from the northwestern region to many other parts of the country. But on the whole, the Green Revolution strategy has benefited the different parts of the Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Therefore, it is said that the Green Revolution strategy has resulted into the regional inequalities. Number 2, interpersonal inequalities. Whether interpersonal inequalities have increased or not due to the adoption of new agricultural strategy is not easy to determine. However, there seems to be a general consensus that in the early period of the Green Revolution, large farmers benefited much more from new technology as compared with the small and marginal farmers. This was not unexpected, as the new technology called for substantial investments which were generally beyond the means of a majority of this country's small and marginal farmers. Only relatively rich farmers who were in a position to afford the new strategy, which is a package program involving the use of high yielding varieties of seeds in combination with other inputs like irrigation, fertilizers, pesticides, etc., adopted it. This shifted the advantage of productivity per acre in favor of big farmers. There is a difference of opinion as far as the later phase of the Green Revolution is concerned. According to some economists, with the passage of time, the supply of institutional credit to small farmers improved, although a major share continued to be cornered by the large farmers. As a result of this, and also because of improved extension services, small farmers started adopting new technology rapidly. Over period of time, Green Revolution started benefiting small farmers as well. In most of the Green Revolution areas, primarily the medium and large farmers were able to benefit from the new technology as it was costly. Only those farmers who were able to produce a surplus for the market were able to reap most of the benefits from the Green Revolution and from the commercialization of agriculture that followed. Peasants or marginal farmers failed to reap benefits as they could produce just enough to meet their own ends. In the first phase of the Green Revolution in the 1960s and 1970s, the introduction of new technology led to increasing inequalities in rural society. Third one is the question of labor absorption. There is a general consensus that the adoption of new technology has reduced labor absorption in agriculture. According to 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, the uneven regional growth was mainly responsible for the low absorption of labor within agriculture. In a large number of states, especially in those regions where there was abundant availability of labor, the growth of output was too slow to generate employment opportunities. In high growth regions, labor was not plentiful and wage rates were high. The sudden rise in the demand for labor in these areas induced mechanization and labor saving practices in general. This happened despite the use of migrant labor from the less developed regions for certain operations. Though Rao's argument might correct in certain instances, the fact of the matter is that the use of mechanization was prompted by considerations of profitability. In a bid to boost their profits, large farmers of Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh adopted the use of labor saving machinery and techniques on a large scale. This was bound to displace labor. Then fourth point is displacement of tenant cultivators and rise in agricultural laborers. In many cases, it led to the displacement of tenant cultivators. Landowners began to take back land from their tenants and cultivate it directly because cultivation was becoming more profitable. This made the rich farmers better off and worsened the condition of the landless and marginal holders, who at that time sold their lands and became laborers. Many small landowners of non-green revolution areas also moved into green revolution areas as laborers, as wages were high in prosperous regions. The fifth one is migration. It led to increased demographic pressure in cities and demographic distortions in rural areas. As often, only male laborers migrated. Sex ratios got skewed and women and children of laborers were forced into grinding work back at their homes. Sixth point is green revolution, caste and breakdown of traditional economic structure. In addition, the introduction of machinery such as tillers, tractors, threshers and harvesters in areas such as Punjab and parts of Madhya Pradesh led to the displacement of the service caste groups who used to carry out these agriculture related activities. Organic linkages of 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 system broke down. It also contributed to agrarian unrest. Many agrarian dominant castes also emerged. Then seventh point is the rise of new classes and interest groups. It led to development of notions of class interests as the agriculture produce came to the market in a big way. Agriculture no longer remained a reciprocatory activity of the village economy. Peasants and farmers associations were formed and they demanded free electricity, water, minimum support price, etc. by acting as class interest groups. It is linked that increasing participation of affluent farmers class to the success of green revolution. Today, farmers group of North India are acting as a powerful lobby. According to a study, seed corporations in Haryana are completely hijacked by dominant farmers. Then eighth point is change in cropping and agricultural patterns. In the green revolution areas, there has been a significant shift from dry to wet, that is irrigated cultivation along with changes in the cropping pattern and type of crops grown. Increasing commercialization and dependence on the market in these areas has increased rather than reduced livelihood insecurity, as farmers who once grew food for consumption now depend on the market for incomes. In most of the Green Revolution areas, farmers have switched from a multi-crop system which allowed them to spread risks to a monocrop regime, which means that there is nothing to fall back on in case of crop failure. Ninth point is regional inequalities. Another negative outcome of the Green Revolution strategy was the worsening of regional inequalities. Only some selected areas of a few crops were benefited, and only those areas with assured irrigation benefited. This further deepened the divide between dryland areas and wetland areas. Further, as supply increased, prices dropped and it hit farmers of dry areas harder. 10th point is conflicts and agrarian unrest. Improper implementation of land reforms was coupled with unequal benefits of Green Revolution. Farmers became more assertive and restive. According to some social analysts, the agrarian movements of 1970s and 1980s were fallouts of the anomalies associated with the Green Revolution. 11th point is loss of traditional knowledge. Indian farmers have been cultivating land for centuries, much before the advent of the Green Revolution, and have developed great indigenous knowledge about agriculture. Much of this traditional knowledge, like the many traditional varieties of seeds that were developed over the centuries by farmers, is being lost as hybrid, high yielding and genetically modified varieties of seeds are being promoted as more productive and scientific. 12th point is gender imbalance. According to Ashish Bose, preference for a male child in Green Revolution belt has increased due to increased attachment with the land as its value goes up. Similarly, Nivedita Menon finds out that Green Revolution has given way to the feminization of poverty, intensification of patriarchy and widening of demographic divide. 13th point is change in mode of production of Indian agriculture. It is also said to have introduced capitalist orientation in Indian agriculture. But unlike in the West, agriculture in India has become an expensive business, as all inputs are now bought from the market, but the uncertainty in the sector still remains very high. This has made the agriculture in India a risky phenomena for farmers. 14th point, ecological impact. Excessive groundwater use and excessive use of fertilizers contaminated groundwater. Waterlogging and salinity were other problems. Use of pesticides led to the loss of many endemic varieties of farm-friendly insects and birds. In 2009, under a Greenpeace Research Laboratories investigation, Dr. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 conducted the study in 50 villages in Muktsar, Bhatinda and Ludhiana districts of Punjab, and it revealed that chemical, radiation and biological toxicity is rampant in Punjab. Many cities of Punjab have emerged as cancer capitals of India. 15th point is undesirable social consequences. Some micro level socio-economic studies of Green Revolution areas revealed certain undesirable social consequences of the Green Revolution. Many large farmers have evicted tenants as they now find it more profitable to cultivate land themselves. A large number of tenants and sharecroppers have lost their lands and have been forced to join the ranks of agricultural laborers. Wetlands have also attracted the outsiders, especially non-agriculturists from nearby towns, to invest capital in buying farms. Because of these tendencies, the polarization process that accentuates the rural class differences has been further intensified by the Green Revolution. The health hazards of the new technology can also not be lost sight of. Increased mechanization that has accompanied the modernization of farm technology in Green Revolution areas carries with it the risk of incapacitation due to accidents. Many farm workers in Green Revolution areas have lost their limbs while working on wheat threshers, and some have even lost their lives. What is an additional cause for concern is the fact that the attitude of the government towards the problems of treatment and rehabilitation of victims of accidents on farm machines is that of total ambivalence. Very meager compensation is provided to the victims. The government neither takes effective steps to prevent farmers from using substandard threshers, nor does it prevail upon them to give rightful and adequate compensation to victims or to protect potential victims from such hazards. The health hazards for the rural agricultural workers are not confined to incapacitation resulting from machine accidents. The agricultural work in Green Revolution areas has been rendered even more injurious by the increasing use of poisonous chemical sprays for plant protection on a large scale. The high yielding varieties of seeds, which are an indispensable part of the Green Revolution strategy, are highly susceptible to diseases, and in India poisonous pesticides are used both extensively and intensively for plant protection without realizing the health hazards that follow for agricultural labor. Surveys show that victims of such acute poisoning are invariably agricultural workers and only rarely rich farmers themselves. It is surprising that no legal protection is available to the victims of poisoning accidents on agricultural farms, as the Workmen Compensation Act is applicable only to industrial workers in this respect. 16th point is change in attitudes. A healthy contribution of Green Revolution is the change in the attitudes of farmers in areas where the new agricultural strategy was practiced. Increase in productivity in these areas has enhanced the status of agriculture from a low level subsistence activity to a money making activity. The Indian farmer has shown his willingness to accept technical change in the pursuit of profit, nullifying the age-long criticism against him that he is backward, traditional and unresponsive to the price and productivity incentives. The desire for better farming methods and a better standard of living is growing not only among the relatively small number of the affluent using the new technology, but also among countless small and marginal farmers in rural areas. The ultimate outcome of the Green Revolution was a process of differentiation in which the rich grew richer and many of the poor stagnated, grew poorer. It should be noted that employment and wages for agricultural workers did increase in many areas because the demand for labor increased. Moreover, rising prices and a shift in the mode of payment of agricultural workers from payment in kind to cash actually worsened the economic condition of most rural workers. Vandana Shiva, in her article Seeds of Suicide in the Asian Age, also reviewed the fact that the first Green Revolution initiated a process of second Green Revolution, which was driven by multinational and private interests. It made agriculture a costly and unsustainable affair in developing country like India.